You know that feeling? When a comedian just clicks, they just get you. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, it's like this universal connection, right? Rare stuff.
Exactly. It's this kind of magic almost. And today we're diving deep into the career of someone who really seems to have mastered that. Dwayne Perkins.
Ah, Perkins. Yeah, he's definitely crafted a unique space for himself.
He really has. We're talking about an American stand-up whose career, well, it spans decades, continents, tons of TV appearances. Born in Brooklyn, lives in LA now. But he's more than just a comic, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. He's like a craftsman of humor. There's a real thoughtfulness there.
That's the word, craftsman. So our mission today is to really unpack his journey. College campuses to these huge international stages. We want to look at the influences, maybe some surprising ones, that shaped his voice.
And figure out why Rolling Stone called him one of their 5 comics to watch.
Right. It's not just listing the credits, is it? It's about understanding the how. How did he do it? Why does his specific, kind of subtle approach connect so widely?
And for that, we're mostly drawing on a pretty comprehensive Wikipedia entry. It gives a really solid look at his life, the career milestones, and, like you said, how his comedy style evolved.
Okay, good. So it's a structured source, gives us a good map.
Yeah, it should help us trace that development pretty clearly.
Okay, let's unpack this journey then, starting right at the beginning, his roots. What jumps out about Dwayne Perkins from the get-go, before comedy was even the main thing?
Well, what's really interesting is how those early experiences, even before he was doing stand-up full-time, seemed to lay this foundation. It's like the groundwork was being subtly put in place for everything that came later. Yeah. It wasn't just about grabbing a mic one day. The foundation. Early life, education, and first laughs.
That makes total sense. So Brooklyn roots first. Born March 21st, 1971, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn. It's almost a cliche, the comedian crucible, right? But how specifically does a place like that become like this crash course in human nature for someone developing their sense of humor?
It's more than just being in New York. Brooklyn specifically, especially back then, it's this incredibly dense tapestry of life.
Right.
You've got such a mix of cultures, different economic levels, just personalities.
Yeah.
Everywhere, all the time.
So constant observation fuel.
Exactly. Think about the subway. Yeah. Every single day, it's a parade of characters.
Yeah.
Right? The street life, the different languages you hear, the sheer pace and energy. The hustle.
Yeah.
It forces you, I think, especially if you have that inclination, to just watch, to notice the little things, the weird interactions, the way people talk.
It sharpens your ear, maybe. Your eye for the absurd.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it probably gives you a certain grounded perspective, too.
Huh.
A kind of no-nonsense filter. You learn resilience, maybe a bit of quick wit, just to navigate it all.
So it's baked into his perspective from day one, essentially.
I think it has to be. That Brooklyn experience is likely a huge part of his comedic DNA, that ability he has to find humor in very relatable, everyday stuff.
Okay, so that's the environment. But then there's this other piece that honestly made me do a double take. His education. He got a Bachelor of Science degree.
Yeah, from the New York Institute of Technology. It's not the typical path, is it?
Not at all. A BS degree for a stand-up comedian. How does that even compute? How does a background in, science and structured thinking influence something as fluid and, well, artistic as comedy?
It's fascinating, right? Because on the surface, they seem like opposites. But I think it could actually be a huge influence on his specific style.
How so?
Well, think about what science involves. Analytical thinking, right? Structure, logic, problem solving.
Okay.
And good stand-up, even though it looks spontaneous, is often incredibly structured underneath. Joke construction, timing, reading an audience. There's a science to it, in a way.
Like crafting a proof or an experiment.
Kind of. You observe something, human behavior, a weird situation. You form a premise, like a hypothesis. Then you build the setup, the context, and the punchline is your result. You're testing it constantly against the audience reaction, laughter.
Wow, I never thought of it quite like that. A hypothesis for laughter.
Yeah. And maybe that scientific discipline, that analytical approach, feeds into that matter-of-fact delivery people talk about with him.
Ah, okay. Like he's presenting his findings on human absurdity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Calmly, logically. Here's the situation. Here's the funny part. It's not overly theatrical. It's grounded in observation. So that BS degree, maybe it gave him this unique way of processing the world, this methodical lens on the chaos.
That's a really compelling idea. The scientific mind applied to joke writing. Okay, so he has this unique foundation, college, emceeing events there too, apparently.
Right, he started performing by emceeing during his college years, getting those early reps in.
And then he jumps into the New York comedy scene proper, but not just anywhere.
No, he starts at the Uptown Comedy Club in Harlem.
Okay, Harlem. Performing there, presumably for predominantly black audiences, that's a specific kind of training ground, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a distinct comedic crucible. The energy, the connection, the cultural references, it likely demanded a very specific kind of stage presence, maybe more immediate, more responsive, got to connect, and fast.
Authenticity is key there, I imagine.
Definitely. And understanding shared experiences, cultural viewpoints.
And then he makes this big shift, moves to Boston in 1994, and the sources say he starts performing there for mostly white audiences.
Yeah, that's a huge pivot, especially early in a career.
Monumental. You're talking about completely different comedic ecosystems back to back. What specific skills or aspects of his style do you think came directly out of having to bridge that gap, going from Harlem to Boston?
Well, the sources explicitly credit both experiences as major influences.
Yeah.
And you can see why. It must have been like intense cross-training.
Right, like learning two different languages of comedy?
Exactly. In Harlem, maybe the rhythm was different, more call and response, relying on certain shared understandings, maybe a cultural shorthand. Then you go to Boston, to predominantly white rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Those same references might not land. The rhythm might be different. The expectations are different.
So he has to adapt drastically.
You has to. It forces you to broaden your scope, to find the stuff that works for everyone. You probably have to strip away anything too niche, too specific to one group, and dig deeper for those universal human things.
The common denominators of humor.
Precisely. What anxieties, what observations, what absurdities cut across those different backgrounds? He had to figure that out night after night. It's like getting a PhD in audience psychology in real time.
Wow. So that dual experience wasn't just about getting stage time. It was fundamentally shaping his ability to connect broadly.
I think it's the key. It likely forged that versatility, that nuanced voice that could speak to different people, and it directly explains why he later says he prefers broad audiences. He learned how to reach them.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so these foundational years, Brooklyn, the science degree, Harlem, Boston, they all converge. And that really sets the stage for his big break, too. The ascendant comic, from Boston breakthrough to global stages. So Perkins is grinding, he's learning, adapting in these really different environments. And then, 1999, he's performing at the Comedy Studio in Boston and gets scouted by Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
That's the call, right? The one every comic dreams of.
I mean, scouted by Conan. That's huge validation. And in the same period, he's also in the New Faces showcase at Just for Laughs in Montreal.
Right. Another massive deal. JFL New Faces is like the comedy draft. Anyone in the industry is there looking for the next big thing.
So getting both of those around the same time, what does that really do for a comedian's career trajectory? It's more than just a confidence boost, surely.
Oh, it's way more. It's rocket fuel.
Yeah.
The Conan spot, making his TV debut in July '99, instantly puts him in front of millions of people. It says, this guy isn't just club funny, he's network TV funny.
Right. He can translate to that huge audience.
Exactly. And the Just for Laughs showcase gives him international industry visibility. Agents, managers, casting directors, they're all there. It signals that his appeal isn't just local or even national. It has potentially global reach.
So it validates that whole journey, that style he forged in Harlem and Boston, shows it works on a bigger stage.
Precisely. It takes him from being a promising regional comic to someone with serious national and international potential. It just changes the game overnight. Huge momentum.
I can only imagine. Okay, so he's got this incredible momentum, this national recognition. What's the next logical step?
Los Angeles.
Of course.
In 2003, he makes the move to LA, the classic path for comics wanting to level up, get into TV, film, be where the industry is concentrated.
And he doesn't just move there. He seems to establish himself pretty quickly in some legendary clubs. The Comedy and Magic Club, the Laugh Factory are mentioned as his main spots, plus the Improv, the Comedy Store, the Ice House.
Yeah, hitting those top-tier LA clubs regularly is a major statement.
It's more than just stage time, though, right? Performing in those specific venues, they have so much history. What does that mean for a comic's development, performing consistently at that level in LA?
It means you're playing in the big leagues every single night. The audiences are often industry savvy, sometimes a bit jaded. The competition is fierce. Everyone on that stage is incredibly talented.
So the pressure is immense.
Huge pressure. You're not just trying out jokes for laughs, you're showcasing your talent for agents, managers, producers who might be in the crowd any night.
Right, constantly auditioning, in a way.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
It forces you to be incredibly sharp, consistent, and to develop material that really pops, stuff that's potentially castable or special worthy. You have to constantly elevate your game.
So mastering those LA rooms is like getting your black belt in stand-up.
That's a good way to put it. It proves you have the chops, the consistency, the professionalism to make it at the highest level.
Okay, so he conquers LA, but his reach didn't stop at the California border. He started headlining nationally and then internationally. This is where it gets really impressive.
It really does. Headlining places like Gotham in New York, the Punchline in San Francisco that shows he's a draw across the country, but the international touring, that's another level.
Europe, the UK, South Africa, India, the UAE, Hong Kong, Singapore, China. The list is amazing. How does performing for audiences that diverse, how does that continue to shape a comedian's style? It must be incredibly challenging.
Hugely challenging, but also incredibly rewarding, I imagine. It forces you to become a master translator, not just of language, but of culture, of nuance, of comedic sensibility.
You can't rely on local references or shared cultural assumptions.
Not at all. What's funny in Mumbai might fall flat or even be offensive in Beijing or London.
Yeah.
You have to find those truly universal human truths, the shared anxieties, the common absurdities, the things about being human that resonate no matter where you are.
It must sharpen your observation skills to an unbelievable degree.
To the nth degree. You have to be so attuned to the audience, reading the room, understanding different cultural norms, maybe even political sensitivities. It forces you to distill your humor down to its absolute core essence.
It probably reinforces his whole philosophy of broad appeal, right? He's literally testing it on the broadest possible stage.
Exactly. He's seeing firsthand what connects universally. It makes his material incredibly robust, adaptable, and deeply human. Being able to consistently get laughs in such different places. He speaks volumes about his intelligence and his fundamental understanding of people. He's like a comedic diplomat.
A comedic diplomat. I like that. Okay, this global experience, this unique foundation, it all leads directly into his specific, very distinct approach to comedy itself. Let's dig into that next. 3. The art of subtlety. Decoding Dwayne Perkins' comedy style. All right, let's get to the heart of it. Dwayne Perkins' comedy style, his philosophy, the sources make it really clear. He consciously aims for broad appeal, not niche audiences.
Yeah, he explicitly says, I don't think you can afford to leave anybody out. A stand-up show is a community event.
A community event. That's such a powerful way to frame it. And he contrasts it with growing up on comedy before it was marketing-based.
Right. That's a direct shot at how segmented things can feel now.
Totally. So, in a world where everyone seems to be targeting very specific demographics, what does it really mean practically to view stand-up as a community event and aim for that universal connection?
It means you're prioritizing inclusivity. You're actively trying not to alienate people. It shapes everything, your topic choices, your references, your tone.
So avoiding inside jokes, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Or super specific cultural stuff that only one group gets?
Exactly. You have to find the humor in experiences or observations that pretty much everyone can relate to on some level. It requires, I think, a deeper level of observation, looking for those common human denominators.
It sounds harder, in a way.
It probably is. It's easier to preach to the choir, right?
Yeah.
But Perkins is trying to build a bigger tent. Viewing it as a community event means he sees his role as bringing people together through laughter, finding common ground, rather than highlighting differences or picking sides.
Using comedy as a bridge.
Precisely. A bridge, not a wall. It's
Yeah.
a more classic, maybe more optimistic view of what stand-up can be.
And this approach, this commitment to broad appeal, it wasn't just a theoretical choice. It was forged, like we talked about, in those early, very different performance environments.
Right back to Harlem and Boston. That experience wasn't just practice. It was the crucible where this philosophy was formed.
You called it a masterclass in audience psychology before. Can you unpack that a bit more? How does navigating those two specific different audiences, Black audiences in Harlem, white audiences in Boston, how does that create a more versatile and nuanced voice?
Well, imagine the specific rhythms you learn in each space. In Harlem, maybe it's faster, more interactive, playing off shared cultural knowledge. You learn that energy, that direct connection.
Okay.
Then in Boston, maybe the initial vibe is more reserved. You have to work differently to build rapport. You can't rely on the same assumptions. You have to explain more, perhaps, or find analogies that resonate differently.
So you're constantly adjusting your toolkit.
Constantly. You learn what translates and what doesn't. You learn how to frame things so that different people can find the humor. You're essentially A/B testing your material across cultures in real time.
Wow.
And the result is you develop this incredibly flexible instrument. You understand instinctively how to connect with different sensitivities, how to find that universal core. It bakes versatility right into your comedic DNA. You learn how to be broad because you've had to be.
That makes the connection crystal clear. And this adaptability, the search for the universal, it seems to extend right down to how he delivers the material. The sources talk about subtlety.
Yes, that's a key element. He prefers subtler material, not confrontational stuff. He even says he's probably one of the best at making points without beating my chest while doing it.
That's quite a statement. And it mentions he includes race in his act, but it's not the central focus.
Right, which is significant.
It really is subtlety in comedy. It feels like walking a tightrope sometimes. It needs intelligence from the comic, and it trusts the audience's intelligence too. It's observation over aggression. Why do you think that subtle approach can be more powerful, especially for someone like Perkins aiming for that broad connection?
Because subtlety invites you in. Confrontation can sometimes feel like being lectured, or it creates an immediate division. You're either with the comic or against them. Subtlety allows the audience member to arrive at the point themselves, to have that aha moment of recognition.
So it feels like a shared discovery.
Exactly. And that often lands deeper, lasts longer. It makes you think, not just react.
Yeah.
And it aligns perfectly with not wanting to leave anyone out. Subtle humor is less likely to polarize.
And his approach to race seems like a prime example of that. It's part of the human experience he talks about, not the only thing.
Precisely. He integrates it into his broader observations about life, about people. It makes the points he makes about it feel more universal, less like identity politics and more like shared human truth or shared human absurdity. It's woven into the fabric, not slapped on top.
It allows people from different backgrounds to connect with the observation, maybe.
I think that's the goal. It's smart, it's nuanced, and it builds trust.
Okay, so you have this philosophy of broad appeal, forged in diverse settings, delivered with subtlety, and it all comes together in his actual stage presence. The descriptions used are likable and matter of fact.
Yeah, and those two words are incredibly important in understanding his appeal.
Why likable? Is it just nice?
It's more strategic than just nice. If the audience likes you, they trust you. They relax, they're more open to listening, more willing to go along with your premises. Even if you touch on slightly tricky subjects, it creates instant rapport.
Okay, so it lowers defenses. And matter of fact.
Matter of fact suggests he's not trying too hard. He's not overly performative or theatrical. He presents the observations, the situations, almost like he's just stating facts.
And the humor comes from the situation itself.
Exactly. The inherent absurdity or the undeniable truth of what he's describing,
Yeah.
it feels authentic, grounded, like a smart, funny friend just telling you how things are.
You lean in because it feels genuine.
Right. It's relatable. That combination, likable and matter of fact, builds this incredible trust and connection. It makes complex ideas feel accessible, and it makes the laughter feel earned, organic. It's not forced on you. You arrive at it with him.
It really paints a picture of a very specific, very effective comedic persona. And it's easy to see how that persona, that style, would translate well to television. From late night to streaming. Dwayne Perkins' television presence. Let's talk about that transition to TV. We mentioned the Conan debut in '99. He did multiple spots there over the years. But then, 2004, he gets his own Comedy Central Presence special. How big a deal was that back then?
Oh, huge. Comedy Central Presence was the platform for stand-ups breaking through nationally. Getting your own half-hour special meant the network believed you had a strong, distinctive voice and enough solid material to carry a show.
It's like a stamp of approval from the comedy establishment.
Absolutely. It cemented his status as a nationally recognized talent. Combined with the repeat Conan bookings, it showed he had consistency, that he wasn't just a flash in the pan.
And these TV appearances, they just blow up your reach compared to clubs, right?
Exponentially. Millions of people who might never go to a comedy club suddenly see you in their living room. It builds that national profile, that fan base, in a way live gigs alone just can't. It was a crucial step in making him a household name, or at least a recognizable face and voice.
Okay, so he's building this national presence, and then comes a really significant role, not just a guest spot, but something more integrated.
Right. The Jay Leno Show, he was a regular correspondent there.
13 episodes between 2009 and 2010. That's substantial. Plus, another spot on The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien in '09. What does being a regular correspondent signify? That's different from just doing 5 minutes of stand-up.
Completely different. It means the show trusts you, not just with your own material, but to participate in the show's broader format. Skits, recurring segments, maybe interviews or field pieces.
So it requires a different skill set, more versatility.
Immense versatility. You have to adapt your comedic voice, maybe play characters, work within a script, possibly improvise with the host or other guests. You're part of the show's ensemble, in a way.
And doing that on Leno's show with that massive nightly audience.
It's huge exposure, and it shows the industry you have range beyond just stand-up. You can handle different formats, you're reliable, you can collaborate. It definitely broadens your perceived skill set and marketability.
It proves you're more than a one-trick pony.
Exactly. It's a big step towards being seen as a well-rounded entertainer.
So his TV presence is growing, he's showing versatility, and then comes some serious critical acclaim, reinforcing his status.
Yeah, this is where you see the industry and critics really acknowledging his artistry. August 2012, Rolling Stone names him one of their 5 comics to watch.
Rolling Stone, that's a major cultural nod.
Huge. It's not just about laughs, it signals relevance, that you're doing something interesting, something worth paying attention to. It implies artistic merit and future potential.
And then the artist-in-residence gig in Rotterdam.
October 2015 at the Rotterdam International Comedy Festival. That's fascinating. Being an artist in residence suggests they value his perspective, his approach to the craft, not just his ability to perform a tight set. It's an intellectual recognition almost.
Like a comedy ambassador again.
Right. It solidifies that global reputation for thoughtful, well-crafted comedy.
And throughout this period, the TV appearances just keep coming. It's a really long list. Last Comic Standing, Craig Ferguson, History of the Joke, Comics Unleashed, Tosh.0 multiple times, Wild Noun, Conan Again, Arsenio Hall, that Netflix special Take Note in 2016.
It's an incredible run, and look at the variety.
Exactly. How do all these different kinds of shows, competition, commentary, talk shows, documentary, streaming special, how do they showcase different sides of his talent?
Well, each one demands something slightly different. Last Comic Standing. You need punchy, competition-ready material that hits hard and fast.
High stakes.
Totally. Tosh.0, quick wits, satirical commentary, maybe some improv chops, talk shows like Ferguson or Arsenio. You need your polished stand-up, plus engaging conversational skills for the couch segment.
Right, the interview part.
History of the Joke implies they see him as someone who can talk intelligently about comedy, not just perform it. And the Netflix special, Take Note, that's the culmination. His vision, his material, presented exactly how he wants to a massive global audience.
So the sheer range of these credits proves his adaptability across the board.
Absolutely. From network to cable to streaming, from stand-up to correspondent work to commentary. He's shown he can thrive in almost any comedic format. It paints a picture of a remarkably versatile and enduring talent.
It really does. Looking back at all this, nearly 3 decades in the business, what does it tell us about his staying power? What makes a career like his so robust for so long? The enduring impact. Longevity and legacy. Okay, let's talk longevity. Active since 1995. We're recording this September 18th, 2025. He's 54. That is nearly 30 years doing stand-up professionally.
It's genuinely remarkable. The comedy world is notoriously tough. Careers can be incredibly short-lived. To stay relevant, working, and respected for that long.
It requires something special, right? More than just being funny.
More and much more. It requires incredible resilience, for one. You have to weather industry changes, shifts in taste, personal ups and downs. It demands constant reinvention, constantly generating new, strong material.
You can't coast on your old jokes forever.
Not if you want to stay relevant for decades. And it requires that deep understanding of audience connection we keep coming back to. You have to keep finding ways to resonate with people as times change, as you change.
So what are those key ingredients, do you think? Beyond the strong material and adaptability we've discussed, what else contributes to that kind of career lifespan?
Well, having that distinct, authentic voice is crucial. But I really think his particular style, that likable, subtle, matter-of-fact approach, plays a huge role in his longevity.
How so?
Because it's less likely to burn out or feel dated compared to maybe more aggressive or trend-chasing styles. Abrasive comedy can hit big, but it can also alienate people quickly or start to feel like a gimmick. Perkins' style is built on observation, intelligence, relatability. Those things don't really go out of style.
It fosters a more loyal, maybe a deeper connection?
I think so. It feels less like a performance you consume and more like a relationship you build with a performer over time. People trust his perspective. He delivers consistent, smart laughs without relying on shock value. That builds loyalty.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a sustainable model for comedy. And he's not just relying on past glories, he's still actively connecting with audiences in new ways.
Exactly. He maintains an official website, which is standard, but he also hosts a podcast, Off the Top.
Right. In today's world, these digital platforms feel essential for performers, don't they?
They really are. They allow for a direct connection that bypasses traditional media gatekeepers. It lets him share more of his personality, his thoughts, his process, directly with people who want to hear it. It builds community.
And a podcast, specifically. How does that format offer something different from his stand-up? Does it complement his style?
I think it complements it perfectly. Stand-up is tight, polished, aiming for laughs per minute. A podcast is conversational, looser, more intimate.
Allows for more depth?
Definitely. He can explore topics more fully, share anecdotes, have extended conversations. It fits that matter-of-fact, thoughtful persona beautifully. Listeners get to hear the mind behind the jokes in a more relaxed, unfiltered way.
It deepens the relationship beyond just the stage performance.
Precisely. It creates this multi-dimensional connection. You see him live, you listen to his podcast, you follow him online. It keeps him present and engaged with his audience in a very modern, dynamic way.
Okay, so looking at this whole picture, the long career, the consistent quality, the thoughtful approach, the continued engagement, what's the big takeaway here? What does Dwayne Perkins's journey tell us?
Outro. So we've really traced this incredible arc today. Dwayne Perkins, from those early days shaped by Brooklyn, by science, by Harlem and Boston,
Right, that unique foundation.
to the breakout on Conan, the huge international tours, being a fixture on major TV shows like Leno's.
And developing that very distinct style along the way.
Exactly. That philosophy of broad appeal, the subtle observation, the likable, matter-of-fact delivery, it all comes together to explain this really impressive decades-long career.
It really is a case study in adaptability, intelligence, and building connection through thoughtful humor rather than just chasing the loudest laugh. He really has shown this amazing ability to create community, like he said, through comedy, navigating all these different cultures, making points subtly without shouting people down.
Yeah, it's quite something.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? In a media landscape that often rewards, the loudest voice, the most aggressive take, the super niche focus, what's the real lasting power of a comedian like Perkins? Someone who champions universal appeal, nuanced observation. What power does that approach truly hold for actually bringing people together, maybe finding common ground? And what can we learn from his way of doing things, finding that shared space through laughter?
That's a really good question to sit with. What is the value of that quieter, more connective voice in today's world?
Yeah, something to definitely mull over.